Hey guys, welcome to Knocked Up and Broke. My name is Vanessa Rachel, or Mama Mari. Yes. Um, for those who don't know what Knocked Up and Broke is about, Knocked Up and Broke is about how I got knocked up, and it's just basically the journey after that. Like, what is life after having a baby, especially when you're young and you just don't know what to do. I don't know what is young though. Young is really like relative. I got pregnant when I was 23, gave birth when I was still 23, turned 24, and I had my baby, and now I'm 25 and he's 6 months. Because my birthday's in December, that's why. But so many people keep asking me, so how did you react? How are you? How was your reaction? And what were your fears when you got pregnant? For me personally, I had three main fears. And let me just start with the least, the one that people don't really think of as a big deal. For me personally, it was one, my bump showing that I was actually pregnant. Like, I didn't go through the whole experience of enjoying my bump because I just felt like it was embarrassing. I just hated the fact that people really stare at you when you're pregnant, which is like so stupid because we all came from somewhere. Like, legit, you didn't come through osmosis. And men are the ones who love doing that. Like, they love staring. And especially when you're an unmarried young mother, you always tend to think that people are judging you. Everywhere you go, you just feel like everyone knows that, oh my God, she had sex and she got a baby and now it's so obvious. And the transition during that time when it's your bump, I was just so upset. Like, the first trimester, I kept trying on my jeans. I'm like, okay, they still fit me. Okay, they still fit me. Then at some point, they couldn't fit me. And it was so emotional for me, not because I was adding weight or anything, but just because I knew that it would reach a time when people would see my pregnancy. And I kept trying to hide so many times. Like, I bought baggy clothes, the baggiest of clothes, and I just hated it. And then, of course, the other thing that I was really scared of was second least. I mean, we're going to the highest after that, was financial. Like, I just kept thinking, oh my gosh, how am I going to actually do this financially? The baby daddy and I are not together, so how are we going to actually do this? Like, how am I going to do this? And there's so many concerns. Like, I had so many concerns. Will he be there? Will he not be there? Will we do things together? How are we going to be? I envisioned having a family. I thought that I would get married fast, and now, and not to mention that I was a church girl. Like, I was actually a church girl for the longest time. Like, I feel like I lived a double life for some time there, like, where people in church knew me as Vanessa, the girl who's just there. And I think there's a huge assumption that when you're in church, you can't really get yourself in some situations. But at the same time, I loved the party life. Those who know me, I loved going out. I loved okay, that's pretty much about it. Like, you guys, me, from Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you could find me at Blend, find me at 18, find me anywhere. Like, I was just that person, like, living lavishly, and not really lavishly, but let me say living drunkenly, yes. And then finally, of course, it was telling my family. I am the eldest girl, so telling people that I was pregnant just didn't really ring a bell. Like, it wasn't something that I was looking forward to do, and I just hated the fact that there's always that pressure of, you're the eldest girl, what are you giving these other girls as an example? What are you showing them? And I hate the fact that everyone makes you feel like they're like, they're using you as an example. And I'm like, yo man, I make my own choices and I made my own bed. Now I'm lying in it, and that's the only choice, and that's the only lesson that I'd want them to take from this. But I, at the time, felt like my life was just going to collapse. But many people ask me, so why did you have a baby? It's 2019, you can choose not to, although that's not legal. But yeah, I wasn't going to keep my baby. Like, I was actually just going to not keep the baby because I was like, why would I do this? First of all, I was not fit. I felt like I was not fit to be a mother at the time because I even did this test that was so stupid. It was a "Are you ready to be a mother?" test. Where that test, guys, asked some stupid questions. Right now, when I look at it, it looks really dumb. But that time, I was pregnant, hormonal, and so confused. And it asked me questions like, do you like babies? Can you change their diapers? Do you like, how do you react when you hear a baby cry? And honestly, my my answers were so negative. Like, I got 40% in that test because they're like, hey, you shouldn't have a baby, which is so bad because I was already pregnant. But the main reason I didn't abort was actually because some lady who used to pray for me, and this is a story that I don't really share and I haven't really shared even on Knocked Up and Broke, the other episodes, is that this lady came to me and she was like, hey, by the way, Vanessa, like, she had been praying for me, and she was like, where are you coming from? I hadn't told her that I was pregnant. And I just said, like, I'm from hospital. And of course, she was like, hospital? What are you doing in hospital? And I was like, well, of course I wasn't going to tell her that I aborted or I want to abort, sorry. Okay, yeah. And she was just like, whatever you're going to do, don't do it. God has a plan for you and don't block your blessings. Now, some would argue that that is very, that's like forcing you into something that you don't want, nini. But it actually, I was scared because me, I fear God. And I was like, what? Like, how did she even know that I was pregnant? It's not like I was showing, I was only 6 weeks at the time. And so my biggest drive was the fact that I felt like that was a message from God just telling me, like, don't, and everything is going to be okay. Now, from the time that I got pregnant to now, it has been a roller coaster. It has been a ride and a half. First of all, telling my family members was such a huge thing. Like, I didn't know how to do it. Like, I just took time. Everyone was in their own segment. Some, it's like I just called them. Others, I was just like, apana, they'll find out later. And for my friends, most of them are just like, nah, you're lying. For some friends were like, no, you should just abort. There's no way you can have a baby now. You have a long way to go. But at the end of it all, I kept my baby. And it's so funny because right now, the same people who are telling me that you needed to abort or you should have aborted are like, wow, he's here, he's so amazing and all that kind of stuff. But it's already a bit too late. Like, I mean, when I needed you, you weren't there. So it's usually a bit emotional for me because I'm like, I don't want to hear from you. There's also someone else who came on my Facebook. She was a high school friend of mine then. And she was like, Vanessa, I expected so much from you. This is a classmate, by the way, guys. Like, the audacity that people out here have. She was like, I can't imagine, and this girl is all the way in Lagos, I don't know, Liberia, whatever. She was like, I can't imagine that you are actually having a baby. Like, you're the last person I expected. This is so disappointing. Do you want to have your child in a broken family or in a broken home like you did? And I was like, what? Like, what? But I mean, she was bringing up valid points, but I just hated the fact that it's coming from a stranger. That's one. It was coming from a stranger. And two, like, when you have chosen to do something, especially as serious as keeping a baby, you do not need people who are just amplifying all the negative things that could go wrong in your life. You need people who can just amplify your positives and people who just like tell you that, oh, don't worry, this is going to be fine. Imagine everything is going to be okay. And sometimes those people are so annoying because they're so chilled. But at the same time, they're the same people who just psych you up and push you and give you motivation that you can do this. And as hard as it has been, guys, I can tell you for a fact that motherhood has changed me in a very positive way. And I'm not just saying this as a cliche, like, oh my God, I can't realize who I was. Like, no, like, I have someone that I love so much that I can do anything for and want the best for genuinely. And if you can't have that with even a man, but you can have that with your child, and that's exactly what I have. And that is why I'm now on this knocked up and broke journey. And hopefully soon it will be knocked up and rich because, well, hey, that's all we all want. And I hope that this channel will inspire young mothers, single mothers, mothers in general, married mothers, everyone, because we all have very similar struggles, just in different shoes. And let's just support one another. This is my first episode, Knocked Up and Broke. check me out on Instagram if you've never checked me out. It's at Nessa and Rachel. Comment, say something, and right now we're just going to have tips. We're going to talk about different issues, co-parenting, baby daddies, and we're just going to have fun because this whole journey is already hard enough. We don't need to make it any harder, and it's just for you to know that you're not alone. See you next time.